What's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Game of the Week show. I'm Matt, and this is Dan.
Hello.
How are you today?
Not bad, you?
All the better. Look at this extra room we have with Ash not here.
It's like I'm not pinned on the edge, kind of like turning in.
Trying to push you off. Yeah, we have no Ash today because he's trying to be a good dad and spend time with his kid rather than talk about video games. I don't understand it myself. Maybe someone out there does, who knows. But without him, it will be the two of us talking like we do every single Monday, where we get together and talk about the latest and greatest stories from within the video game industry. We'll then also have a look at the game releases for that week before each picking our favourite game of the week. So if you are a fan of video game news, conversations, reviews, let's plays and more, you can find out everything we do on our website, thegamerinitiative.com. So Dan.
Yes.
We already knew we had Gamescom this week, so it was going to be a busy week. On top of that, some pretty big news came out this week regarding Konami, and we wondered, how could they make people more annoyed at them? I mean, a lot of people, you'd have to be living under a rock to not know that Konami have pissed off quite a few video game fans over the last year with their treatment.
Or two, yeah.
Or three.
No, I wasn't going to go through
One or two.
all the digits.
So yeah, the whole treatment of Kojima, obviously, the fallout from that, and he's left. So they have now shown us a brand new trailer for their next game, which, to be fair, the trailer looks pretty cool, but it's called Metal Gear Survive. It's taking place in the aftermath of Ground Zeroes, the Metal Gear 5 prologue, basically when Mother Base all goes down. Minor spoilers, by the way, for Metal Gear 5 Ground Zeroes. I've already said it, so it's too late. So when Mother Base goes down, you see Snake and all his crew fly off in a helicopter, and then it pans off to Metal Gear 5 the game. But obviously, what you don't see is what happened to the rest of the soldiers on Mother Base. And this game, they get sucked up into some sort of weird wormhole.
Yeah.
Which, okay, I'm not going to question the logic of the Metal Gear world, because there's a lot of things that are, let's just say, stretching the realms of real life, reality.
Yeah.
So you go up into this wormhole, you're a soldier and a load of other soldiers, and also parts of Mother Base as well. And this whole game is basically up to 4 players working cooperatively in order to survive. So, Dan, what was your first impression of the trailer, like, taking away the fact that it's a Metal Gear game, like the trailer itself?
I mean, it was very Konami, I guess, in the sense of, oh look, random shit is happening.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, that's happening, and now here's the weird thing when you jump into the other side, because it looks zombie-like.
Yeah, so there's some weird,
calling it zombies or not, but it's almost in one sense, and the way I heard it described is it could be something very similar to The Last of Us in the way it's a fungal thing, in that it looks like basically everyone's had a crystal shoved through their forehead.
So maybe it's part of the explosion.
Unicorns, that's what happened to them.
That's what happened, yes. This is what happens when unicorns do drugs. The bad kind. So yeah, it is very almost or Metal Gear in the fact that it does have this, there's a weird spin on, you feel like it could be, no pun intended, like grounded to an extent, but then it goes a little bit crazy, a little bit weird. I think the trailer looks fine as a game. As you can imagine, everyone is really, really angry because it's a Metal Gear game. Metal Gear is Kojima. Like, there's no denying that. Kojima's worked on that franchise for over 20 years. 28 years, I think it was, possibly. So a long, long time. And everyone was saying that Metal Gear dies with Kojima. And to an extent, yes, it will. This game will not be like other Metal Gear Solid games. It's, I mean, obviously for a start, it's not following the same people that we're familiar with. Like, obviously, Snake has always been at the forefront. We've always had other characters like Raiden and stuff like that. But the Metal Gear name means a lot, and you can understand Konami not wanting to. It's a lot harder to launch a new IP than it is.
Yeah.
Everyone knows automatically, oh, Metal Gear, I've heard of that. They make good games. They're good games. Metal Gear games are good games.
Yeah.
Whereas if they called it something different, then you've got to try and convince people. But
that, and I think the internet would generally just be ready to hate anything that Konami
yes,
came out with, regardless of what it was called. So it's like, at least if you tag the Metal Gear name to it, then some people might be more willing to try it. Whereas if it's a brand new thing, it's like, well, Kojima didn't make it. It's not Metal Gear.
Yeah. I mean, we know this game's coming in 2017 at the moment, that's all we know. PS4, Xbox One, PC, possibly Scorpio and Neo. Or actually, yeah, because all games are cross-platform. Maybe the NX, who knows? All we've seen so far is this trailer. We don't know a huge amount more details other than this and some screenshots as well. But I want to keep an open mind. I think it looks quite cool. I mean, yes, we do have a huge amount of survival / zombie, whatever they are, games.
Yeah.
Co-op play, well, I'm not a big fan of playing with people. I like to play on my own. But as long as it's something that can be done, maybe like Alien Nation or Dead Nation, those sorts of games where, yeah, it's fundamentally designed to be co-op, but you can still play it alone if you want to play it alone.
Yeah, the thing I'd want it to definitely be, though, is like a drop-in, drop-out kind of co-op, rather than you suddenly become reliant on other people in your party being online to be able to actually progress anything.
Yeah.
Because if you imagine it like you and me kind of thing, working on it, but then one of us can't do anything for a week, that would suddenly deny you being able to progress your game.
Yeah, I'd imagine. I mean, Alienation, I know we're talking about Metal Gear, and this is just any excuse to talk about a Housemarque game, but Alienation absolutely nailed it, that you could be halfway through a mission, and then someone could just drop in, and then drop out, and it was seamless.
Yeah.
Nothing changed.
Which is what you want.
So we'll see about this game. Obviously, a lot of people hate it, but like you said, I think anyone was going to hate Konami no matter what they did. So at least this way, they've kind of... If they'd released a new game, they would have hated on it. If they'd released a Metal Gear game, they would have hated on it. So at least this way, they're kind of killing two hates with one stone, maybe. I think they needed to probably let the Metal Gear Solid breathe a little longer. It hasn't even been a year since Phantom Pain came out. So I think this is probably a bit too soon. Like the wounds are a bit too fresh, maybe. But what I have said actually is that this isn't going to be a full price game. So temper your expectations on. It's not going to be a big Metal Gear AAA $20 million budget game that they've, with all these huge epic cinematic scenes that we've seen over the years. So it's going to be very much a completely different game. Should it have a Metal Gear name on it? You let us know your thoughts down below. It makes business sense to keep it. Effectively, though, I think it's not really going to be a Metal Gear game. So
no,
but
you'll just be using the Metal Gear mechanics.
Yes, we said off air before, like this Infinite Warfare, Call of Duty. It's not a Call of Duty game really, but that name will make millions of people buy it, so they have to keep it on there. The only way it's similar to Call of Duty is it's a first-person shooter. Mm-hmm. So we'll move on anyway to Gamescom now. There was plenty of details coming out. We'll kick off with EA and possibly the news that will make this man here very happy, depending on how much spare time he has over the coming months. Patrick Soderlund, the boss of EA Studios, has dropped a big hint that maybe a Mass Effect trilogy remaster could be on the way. So this is a big turnabout face from Peter Moore's comments last year. Do you remember this when he was... I don't have an exact quote here, so I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said that remasters are for people that have run out of ideas and and have no imagination, and we're busy on creating new. We're too busy making new ideas and new games.
Then you know what happened? Everyone started doing them, and everyone started buying them, and it meant lots of money, and therefore they've gone ka-ching.
Exactly. And then everyone made fun of Peter Moore because he was saying we don't like to rehash old things, and then they're like, you make Madden and FIFA and NHL. It's the same game every year. So it's not the exact same game, but that was he just opened. He did open himself up for it. But yeah, so. Basically, when asked about what's changed, Patrick Soderlund basically said that there is proof in the market that people want it, and that their very honest answer is that they are absolutely actively looking at it. So, but he did go on to say that there are two ways to do a remaster. You can just do a remaster, or you can do it well. And he said, if we were to do it, we'd want to do it really well. So basically what he's saying is there's the way to do it like the Master Chief Collection, and then there's the way Activision have been doing it recently. Which is not, it's not even a remaster, it's just a port. So this would be a perfect opportunity, Dan, ahead of Andromeda in Q1. But
Like, that's coming in Q1 at this rate.
well, yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to ask you. It's just there's no room for it this year in EA's. We'll talk about it in just a minute about their full lineup and how stacked it is anyway. So this trilogy has to come out before Andromeda, right? That would make sense. No,
I don't think it has to, because Andromeda is supposed to stand alone
yes,
from this trilogy anyway. But I'm actually still concerned that we're not going to see Andromeda in Q1. So if they put this in instead,
so maybe this comes in Q1 and maybe Andromeda becomes like a May game or something, or a June game, like this summer.
Like, the lack of news coming out for Andromeda is still.
Yeah, it's been very, very quiet. They have not revealed much. But then again, do you not like... I mean, we see so many games now where you know everything about the game before it's come out. So do you not like the mystery to an extent?
Yes and no, but the problem is everything they've pretty much shown has been stock NASA footage in their trailers.
Yeah.
And so on.
But everyone likes spaceships.
I know everyone likes spaceships, but still, it's like, just show a little bit of the game.
Yeah.
I'll be happy, because
have we seen any gameplay yet?
You've seen a little bit of the Mako driving around.
Yeah.
You've seen a little bit of, I think it was more of a cinematic use of the jump pack jet thingamajiggy.
Oh, yeah.
And so on. And
That was a leak. Was that not leak pre-alpha footage, though?
yeah.
So it wasn't even official.
And we've seen at the end of their last trailer where it showed off that it looks like it's going to be a female protagonist as the canon.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all we've seen.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like this. We saw 0 of Fallout 4 before E3 in June, and then it came out in November. So basically we saw 0 of it until 4 months before it was released, basically.
Yeah,
so that means
this is a game that was meant to be basically out now.
But it's not out now. So, I don't know. I completely agree with you saying we need to see something, but Andromeda, or the Mass Effect name, is a name that's big enough that they don't need to show anything. People like you, it doesn't matter what they show. They could show you nothing, and the game could pop up on the shelf tomorrow in a video game store, and you'd buy it.
Of course.
So like,
I already pre-ordered it, so
Exactly.
I'm buying it. But I still want to actually see something that shows it's ready to go.
Yeah.
And at the moment, I'm not convinced it's ready to go because we're not seeing anything.
It'll be interesting to see. I think it'll be a really good option. Like you say, it's standalone. They don't need to do it beforehand, but I think it'll make sense too, because there will be some people out there, some younger people, or even people like me that never really played Mass Effect for one reason or another. And yes, it's standalone, but maybe by buying this collection, it will then actually turn people to buy Andromeda that maybe weren't going to buy Andromeda. Because, well, you release it. That's why it's a good time to do a collection kind of out of this full crazy window as well. If they can get it out in January. It's a nice game to pick up early year. Weather's miserable outside, don't want to go outside. Here's 400 hours of game content for you for £40. So, we talk about EA and why they don't need to release it this year. It's because they've got Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2 both coming. We've now found details about some betas that will be launching for both of these games in the coming weeks. Titanfall 2, first up, has actually already just had a beta this weekend, so you would have missed that. But we're not just rubbing it in, don't worry. There is another one coming this weekend, Friday through to Monday. It's going to have 3 maps available and 3 different game modes.
Is this an open beta?
This is an open beta. They're not even calling it a beta, they're calling it a technical test. I don't know why. But yeah, it's a beta. First impressions from this weekend, though, have been pretty negative. A lot of people are saying that they've kind of almost... they haven't made any improvements, and if anything, it's gone backwards. I mean, I haven't read a huge amount because I like to try and stay away from people's impressions of games in order to form my own opinion. Yeah. Especially on a game that I might have... If I have zero interest in a game, then I'll just read it. If I have zero interest, I won't if I don't have initially an intention on buying the game or playing the game myself, then I will
read
it to kind of maybe see, are you going to convince me one way or the other? Witcher 3 being the obvious example. But with Titanfall 2, I kind of want to play the beta myself, so I don't want to read this, because if I think it's going to be crap, then
you go in with the expectation of it being crap, and then if it's not better than that,
you're like, okay,
you still assume it's crap, kind of thing, even if it's actually good.
But the one I think we're both more excited for is the Battlefield trailer or beta that's coming. That's launching on August 31st, so just a couple of days after Titanfall 2's one's end. This will only have the one map called the Sinai Desert. The behemoth vehicle in this particular map will be an armoured train. There'll be 2 game modes available, the 64-player Conquest and the smaller 24-player Rush. There's been a new trailer that showed off this map, which it says it's gameplay footage. If the game looks this good, it's going to be absolutely incredible. How good does the trailer look? Like,
it's ridiculous.
Someone at EA knows how to cut trailers, or someone at DICE more specifically knows how to cut trailers. And
if that guy isn't also working on film trailers,
they probably, I would imagine they probably get movie editors in to cut video game trailers now. But it looks so cool. And we were just saying off air before, as cool as this all looks, we just hope, I know you said you hope, that there's going to be some sort of single player substance to it.
And it's like these massive 64-player online battles are all well and good, but I want a decent shooter campaign again. Because back in the old Call of Duty ones and stuff like that, when it was World War II and everything I enjoyed those campaigns, and getting something like that out of World War One would be fantastic. Whether it happens, I don't know, because I've never played a Battlefield campaign, so I don't know how much substance they have in comparison to a Call of Duty one.
I don't think I have either, actually. I'm thinking about it now. The first Battlefield I played was 1942, and I only ever played multiplayer, because that was when I did PC game and I did play multiplayer games a little bit more. I don't even think Battlefield 1942 really had a campaign. I think it was just you could play the maps with bots. So it's single player, but it was... then they had the things like the Battlefield Bad Company games that they were more single player centric. Hardline, to be fair, I think, obviously it was a bit of a spin-off, Cops and Robbers. I didn't play all of it, but it did seem quite cool, and Ash, he's not here, but he really enjoyed that campaign, so there was hope. There is this hope. We know the emphasis will always be on multiplayer with these games, because that's the mass market, but hopefully they can still deliver on something decent. Won't get to see that in the beta, but if you want to just feel for the mechanics, see how it's playing, how it's looking, then make sure you check that out. August 31st. We'll move from EA over to Ubisoft now, and some more details out of their Gamescom show, because there weren't any actual conferences as such. We now know that the extreme sports game Steep will be launching on December 2nd, and in addition to the release date, they just nailed all the obligatory things. They announced a gold edition, which comes with the season pass. So please buy the game with a season pass. No word on what the season pass will have in it, so just buy it anyway. But it will have major expansions. So, well, of course I can say it. It's got fuck all. No one's going to say that. No. Everyone's always going to be like, yeah, it's major. And then on top of that, pre-order bonuses. So they nailed all 3 tick boxes there. The pre-order bonuses do sound quite cool. 3 extra night challenges, 3 night outfits, glowing equipment for the 4 activities, and a wingsuit rocket flare.
They have not announced the collector's edition though.
This is true.
They have missed off one of the 4.
It's probably coming.
I reckon it's because they're trying to work out what to give with the collector's edition.
Do we give a snowboard?
Yeah.
Or a wingsuit?
Snowboard, skis, or wingsuit is basically what they're trying to work out. But you'll be a helmet. I'll be some weird snowboard helmet or ski helmet or whatever.
I think it'll be a snowboard, but it'll be like a scale thing. It won't obviously be a real snowboard. Although we have seen these games sometimes that were launched with crazy expensive collector's editions. Was it the What was the weirdest one? The Dying Light one. It was like £10,000, and you could get your own zombie survival bunker.
Yeah. There was that one.
It was like limited edition of.
Wasn't it like
one.
Fallout 4 had like a fridge? Was it Fallout? There was definitely a game.
There was a game that had a fridge.
You could get like a little mini fridge.
I think that was Call of Duty, possibly. I'm not
It
sure.
might have been.
But yeah, we do. It's definitely not out of the realms of possibility to get a full snowboard as a collector's edition. We do know South Park. There's not really any new news on South Park other than it's given new gameplay, and it still seemed to be December, which I thought was interesting because I did wonder, like, are Ubisoft really going to release 2 games in December?
Yes, because they're Ubisoft.
That's fair enough. I mean, I just thought, I don't know. December's obviously becoming a little bit more.
It's a very
opportunity now, but it's you miss America, or North America is the biggest market for video games, and everyone tries to get their games out for Black Friday because that's when everyone goes crazy and buys everything
and punches everyone else in the store.
Yeah. But I don't know. What they did announce, though, some more release dates for some of their VR games that we have seen. We won't go into huge details of the games because we have seen them all before. But Eagle Flight, that's coming to the Rift on October 18th, PlayStation VR on November 8th, and the HTC Vive on December 20th. Their other 2 games...
That's quite a big difference in time between
it's like a
each
month,
one.
especially the Vive.
Yeah.
Don't know why. Much more sensibly, Werewolves Within will release on all platforms at the same time on December 6th, and Star Trek Bridge Crew will release on all platforms on November 29th. So yeah, I don't quite know. I think it's because Werewolves Within and Star Trek Bridge Crew is definitely a VR experience, not a game.
Yeah.
You're just controlling the Enterprise and you're just on the bridge.
Not even the Enterprise, is it?
It's not.
It's some random shit.
Yeah. And Werewolves Within, it just looks like it looks quite fun, but it just looks like you sit around a campfire and the idea is you try and work out which one of you is the werewolf. Which is quite cool. But like,
it's the shaggy one.
Eagle Flight seems like it's got a lot more... I don't want to say it's more of a game, necessarily, but you move from one location.
Yeah.
So maybe maybe it's not quite as easy to cross-platform on these VR platforms as we assumed it would be. But I don't know. Are you excited for any of those VR games? Are you excited for VR? Are you buying any VR headsets?
I have not as of yet. I still want to... Well, I kind of, seeing as you and Ash have both ordered one, I kind of want to sit down and just try it before actually purchasing one, because like at the moment the only one I would get would be the PlayStation 1, because my laptop's okay, but it's not going to run a VR headset that well.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably could, just about.
Yeah, but you don't.
But you don't want to stress it.
You don't want. They give minimum specs, but you never want to be on the minimum specs.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I haven't looked at the specs, but I'm just going to go ahead and assume because it's a gaming laptop, it's not going to run like a gaming desktop PC in terms of what it has.
Yeah.
So it's like, I want to sit down and try it because I want this sort of thing to succeed, and I am seeing it succeed in certain instances. But I don't want it to be like just a momentary fad. And I've spent money on and then be like, well, I've got this thing now. Because we see these kind of things, they come along and they either work or they don't. And I kind of want to hold off and wait for it to start working properly.
Yeah.
Before I actually throw money at it.
That makes sense. I mean, there's no rush to get it. And like you said, I mean, most of the stuff that's coming out this year on VR, with all due respect to everything we've seen, seems to be more VR experiences rather than like a fully fledged game. And maybe that's what we're going to have for the headsets. People have talked about how it seems that maybe it's more enjoyed in small doses.
Yeah.
So by creating small experiences, that's the way to do it. I mean, I don't think, something like No Man's Sky, you could sit down and play all day if you wanted to. But with a headset on, it's probably not recommended. But anyway, enough about VR. We've talked VR to death. Yeah. One more pre-game release details to go through here from Ubisoft. Not a beta, though, in this instance. This is actually only going to be an alpha, and it's going to be for Honor.
For
Honor.
Yeah.
That's launching on September 15th. the alpha, not the game, and will run for a few days. And this will give you an opportunity to see the warriors, the knights, the samurais, the Vikings, and all of that. And I just don't care about this game. You initially were really excited for it.
The more I see of it, the more I'm cooling off on it, which I kind of feel sad about in one sense, because it's like, oh great, like just melee game. It's like now it just looks like a button mashing kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the alpha's a good opportunity to check it out and see what it is all about. But yeah,
I think originally I was very much hoping for like almost like a open
third person action
kind
game.
of action game, yeah, and it's not so much that now.
It is a bit disappointing, that is for sure, unfortunately. But we know it's not coming now until early next year, so it's a good opportunity to check it out and actually see exactly what the game is. Maybe it's just one of these games that doesn't preview well, or trailer well. Maybe when you get hands on with it, it will become more enjoyable, but who knows. One game that I know, without doubt, Dan will be very excited for, if it is a real thing, our good friends over on NeoGAF, not personally, but just they are a source of internet information,
and therefore we consider them friends.
Yeah, it's been announced or revealed that on the Koreans rating boards, so basically one of these ESRBs.
I'm assuming we're talking about South Korea at this point.
Yes, I think that's probably a pretty safe assumption. I'm pretty sure only North Koreans have access to North Korean websites.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that's how it works. But yeah, it has, or what's been listed on the Korean rating board is Assassin's Creed the Ezio collection. So obviously there's nothing from Ubisoft or anything at the moment. We do know that there's no new AC game this year. So if they were going to do like a remaster or a collection, this year would be the best time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
We have been wondering what's going to be their October game, with Watch Dogs being November and the other two we talked about, Steep and South Park being December. Could we see this? Could we see Ezio come back and Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood of Revelations? I know that that's your favourite part of the AC
it is, yes.
series franchise. So would you be excited to play these all again?
If they brought in some of the changes that they had in the later games, in the sense of like, oh, you're seen by a guard doesn't mean auto fail, because I don't want to go back to that. That's a big thing now. It's like, oh, you've been seen, never mind. It just changes the game. You still go do your thing. It's just going to be a bit harder.
So you'd want it to be a remake from the ground up, almost.
Well, not necessarily 100% like remake, but just that little extra freedom in the games would make them so much better. Would I play them all again? Possibly, but at the same time, I almost feel like if they're making the franchise
it's best
rest the franchise. Like, I love those games, playing them, and I probably would play them again in high definition glory and whatever they do to them to make them adapted for the new generation. But at the same time, just let it be, because that way you're going to have
the whole idea is that everyone was
coming back next year when you bring out your new game. Like, I haven't played an Assassin's Creed game in 2 years.
That was the whole point, wasn't it? That it wasn't just demo. It was fan fatigue. It wasn't. So like, if you bring back, I mean, okay, people might not everyone. Maybe everyone won't buy this game. Maybe it'll be reserved for people that haven't really played much of the old Assassin's Creed games. Maybe they have only played Black Flag and
that one.
The one.
God, I'm blanking.
Syndicate. Yeah. So like they actually.
I like how we miss Unity. Yeah, I was going to say that.
We don't talk about Unity. Maybe they've only played stuff on the new gen, so maybe they're not quite as burnt out on Assassin's Creed as someone like you, who's literally played one every year for the last 8 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. This is definitely, I think most fans of the franchise will say, maybe apart from Syndicate, but this is actually the best. It was the best story. Told.
Absolutely. Just one request though, please remove every single mission in which you have to tail someone.
That's not going to happen.
No.
If this does come, unfortunately for Dan, I don't see it taking out those core mechanics that was a problem in the first games. It's just going to be the game with a slightly shinier, fancier skin on.
Yeah. Well, the thing is,
if it comes out
if it comes out like that, I probably wouldn't get them.
Yeah.
As much as I love them, it's just
You've played them.
It would feel like taking a step backwards.
There's plenty. We talked about this before, but collections are great for people that haven't had the opportunity to experience the game, experience the franchise, whatever it is. But there's enough games coming out that you don't need to go and play games that you've played before, especially games that you've already played as extensively as you have.
Yes.
Like, for example, I'm going to pick up the Bioshock collection. Now, I have played Bioshock, but I've only completed the first one. The second one, I, for some reason, didn't complete it, and I never actually got Infinite. So this is like, it's a series I've not spent a huge amount of time with, so I feel like I can justify playing it now, or trying to find time to play it now.
It's also hard if you've played the later games in a collection to go back and play the first one, because usually everything changes after the first one in the sense of the mechanics and stuff like that. Yeah, that's why one of the reasons I found it hard going back on the Nathan Drake collection for the first one is because it just felt different to the two that I'd played. This was obviously before 4 came out, and so I didn't really like it
because it felt
wrong
clunky and
by
weird.
comparison, and it's just like, this isn't a game I enjoyed.
Yeah,
so I actually stopped playing it for that.
A lot of games in terms of gameplay, Assassin's Creed is definitely one of them. The mechanics will not age well.
No, and it evolves. It always changes and so on. And what you have in the later games is not what you had in the first games. And I almost feel like going back to Mass Effect, like if that comes out, because I didn't play the first one. The first one was a PC game,
Xbox,
and I didn't play it, and it's just like, sure, I'd love to play through that story, but they changed all of the actual gameplay mechanics.
Will it feel
between 1 and 2? I don't want to go play something that I know they changed to make better.
No, that makes sense. Well, we shall see. We will let you know as soon as it's official, but when it's on a ratings board, it's normally pretty safe to say that there is some strength to the report. And just one final piece of news, quickly, before we move into this week's games releases. I know it's been a long one with all the Gamescom information, but below, the highly, highly anticipated game from Capybara Games. This is, if you haven't seen Below before, it's kind of a Dark Souls / Zelda inspired roguelike game. Beautiful art style, beautiful art direction. Looks really, really good. Everyone is very excited to play it. Well, it's been delayed. This game was originally scheduled for a 2014 release, and then a 2015 release, and then a 2016 release. And they've now, in a blog post earlier, or at the back end of last week, have said that unfortunately the game, which was supposed to be coming this summer, has now been delayed, and unfortunately didn't even have a new release date for us. They said it's going to be delayed until further notice. They don't want, I guess maybe they've realised we keep putting dates on it and we keep failing. Let's just shut up until we finish the game.
Yeah. So this game has become the new Last Guardian at this point.
It's got a couple of years to go. I don't think it's quite that bad.
Well, maybe not in overall terms of length, but the number of delays like from original announcement.
To be fair though, I don't think The Last Guardian was ever... I think this game's now been officially delayed more than The Last Guardian, because it got delayed and then no one heard about it. And it was like, yes, we're still working on it. I was like, is it coming out yet? We're still working on it. Is it coming out?
Stan's working on it in his back corner somewhere by himself.
I always love the analogy on The Last Guardian, which does, by the way, look like it's coming out this year now. Which I won't believe it until I see it on the shelf.
You want the physical disc in your hand?
Well, no, I don't want it really.
No, but you want to be able to at least go. It's real.
Yeah. In fact, even when I see people playing it on YouTube, I won't believe it. I was like, nope. But I always love the observation that in the time it's taken them to make The Last Guardian, Naughty Dog has made and released Uncharted, Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3, The Last of Us, and Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
It's like, well, unless your game's going to be as good as all 5 of those put together, then it's a disappointment. But no, unfortunately, bad news on Below. We are excited to play that game. Hopefully, the delay is only a small one, but you do have to start getting worried when games are delayed this many times and this often, and for this greater length in time. But let's let's end now. Happier times. We're talking about games that we know not only are releasing, but actually are out right now, and you can go and pick up. The first one this week is Formula 1 2016 on the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. The game from Codemasters, released every year in conjunction with the Formula 1 season, and much improved, I'm happy to report, on last year's very, very bare bones entry. I think Codemasters accepted that last year they had to cut a few corners in order to get it out onto the new gen, which, because they'd already cancelled it the year before, I would have rather them have cancelled it personally than released it. Hopefully some people will still come back. I myself, I wasn't going to pick this up. I picked up last year's because I was like, yes, new Formula 1 game on the new gen, and it was crap. I was like, oh no. I was like, I wasn't buying it this year. I was like, I got burnt last year by picking it up and then seeing the reviews were crap and then realising it had like no depth to it. And then I saw it was out. I was like, I'll just have a quick look at the reviews, and everyone's like, best Formula 1 game ever. And it was like, oh, for fuck's sake. So I went and picked it up, and yeah, happy to report I'm really enjoying it so far.
That's good.
So let me run through my experience on. I've only done one race weekend so far.
Mm-hmm.
So the practice is good because the practice is obviously is like most people just want to do the race. The practicing is like pointless, but how it works now is they set you challenges in practice. So there's not a huge amount of them, but like one you'll do. So they'll like kind of put like gates on like all the different corners, and you have to go through the gates in order to kind of get basically get points by going through the gates and then streaming them all together. So it's the idea is taking the optimal route around the track. But it's not just going through the gates, you have to carry enough speed through them to get the top marks and stuff. So that's quite cool. And then there's other mini games like tyre management, which I suck at, because it's like you can't be harsh on the steering or the accelerator or the brakes. Now, accelerator brakes is okay, but it's really hard to not be harsh on the steering when you've only got a stick that moves like that far. Like with a 900-degree steering wheel, it's probably fine.
Yeah.
But with a stick, it's very hard to do like half turns. So I suck at that. But then there's like a hot lap thing as well, like kind of do like a qualifying test run.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
I've seen as well that the warm-up lap is actually a thing.
Yeah, they've got a formation lap, so you go around and you do. I mean, they do take it well. Maybe there's some assists you can turn off, but when I did my formation lap, the AI does take control of your car right before the end, so you don't actually have to pull back up onto your line, and you can't like overshoot the line.
Yeah, no, I think I was watching that's purposefully so that you go into the right box. And everything like that.
Yeah, because always someone would just like drive straight through.
I'm in first.
But then they have got like they introduced this in the Dirt Rally series, but they've now got you can hold you do like a manual start.
Yeah.
Even if you want automatic gears. You hold the clutch in and then you release it and try to get the right balance of revs.
Yeah.
And the safety car's been introduced. Like I was really, really lucky in my race, so I'm with Renault and I was just expected like if you get points you've done really, really well. So I went with a strategy with an extra stop so I could just push my car as hard as I could. And I think I was doing alright. I was in like about 9th or something. But there was a crash and the safety car came out literally right as I was about to come into the pits anyway.
Yeah.
So I nailed, everyone dives into pits, but I got the perfect pit stop and I got onto these fresh tyres and managed to get up onto the podium because it just like perfectly timed it. And like that's the kind of thing that can happen in real life. Like, so it was really cool. I'm enjoying it so far.
That's good.
If you're a fan of Formula 1, I would recommend it. I think you have to be a fan because like you said, it's a 10-year career, but there are only so many tracks and so many cars.
Yeah.
I should have added as well those mini games you do in practice. You get points, and then you can use those points to spend on upgrades for your car in order to make it better.
Yeah, it's like development
tools. Yeah. So it's good. I would recommend it. Absolute Drift, Zen Edition, PS4. Remember this one?
Yes.
What was your impression of this one?
This was the very calm drifting game that we saw, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, we saw it when it was announced on the PlayStation blog, so it's now out. It's a very aptly named game. It is very much a Zen game. You do just drift. It never has... You imagine drifting to be like this very like kind of crazy, like high intense... It's not really a sport, but I suppose activity within the racing game. But yeah, they just with the music and the artwork and I guess just the mechanics of the car, it's just very
Very
therapeutic almost. It's cool. I like it. I do like it. We then have Grow Up on the PS4 and Xbox One. This is a sequel to Grow Home, which I didn't realise did well enough to warrant a sequel. Apparently people liked Bob, the little mini robot dude. It's an action.
I had no idea this was coming out.
Yeah, well, I remember they announced it at E3 because we were talking about how their E3 conference for Ubisoft. I think you picked it as the best conference, possibly. Or maybe Ash did. One of you did.
I don't remember.
But yeah, and it was really good, but it was too long, and they talked about pointless crap like this. No offense to people that like Grow Up, but it's just like a little.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of Grow Home, then yeah. Otherwise, moving on. Hitman Episode 4 Bangkok on the PS4 and Xbox One. We saw the trailer for this. Looks like basically some lead singer for a band killed, well, allegedly murdered this young up-and-coming actress.
Yeah.
But he got off because he had a good lawyer and money talks.
And
so
his
now,
dad was some influence, and now the family wants revenge.
So yeah. So the best way to get revenge on a murderer is to murder yourself. So that's Agent 47's new contract. I do like we say the same thing every time one of these episodes come out. I like Hitman. I wish it wasn't episodic.
Yeah.
And you said you've enjoyed watching people playing these games and stuff.
Yeah,
because they are good.
They come out. They provide a little humorous couple of let's plays to watch because people play them differently, and so on. That's basically how I get my fix of this. Because I think by the time the actual game comes out as a full physical release, I probably won't care too much.
That's what I like about Hitman is like there's no, or not just Hitman but other games, there's so many different ways you can approach it.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of the game. We've got a couple more games here. We've got Inversus on the PS4, which looks like a crazy kind of arcade shooter game. A little bit like Pac-Man in the fact that there are things chasing you and you have to avoid it, but you have to shoot the pixels in order to change their colour, and you can only go through the colours that you're not. It's a black and white.
Yeah.
Well, it's not really a noir game, but it is black and white.
It's not noir at all.
No, it's not noir at all. No, it's black and white.
Yeah.
It looks cool though.
Yeah. It's got a little bit of energy to it, despite it looks very simplistic, but I can imagine it can get a little bit chaotic.
We have Lifeless Planet Premier Edition on the PS4. I feel like we've talked about this game before. Maybe it came out on Xbox One once upon a time, but you're basically an astronaut that is trying to find life on what appears to be this abandoned planet, and then he comes across some kind of undiscovered town, and then he's starting to think that maybe it's all like a weird hoax and stuff like that. Looks cool. It's very much an exploration game. If No Man's Sky isn't big enough to explore planets, then you can check this one out as well.
If you haven't had your fill of exploration.
Yeah, I feel this game's coming out like 2 weeks too late. It's like, exploring a planet in space.
I'd say it's probably come out like 3 weeks too late.
How was it? Is it 2 weeks?
Oh wait, no. No Man's Sky's been out.
It's only last week.
Yeah, sorry. No.
It'll be nearly.
Yeah.
Off. But yeah. It's like, how cute. You've got one planet you can explore. Come and check out our 18 quintillion planets. We have Unnamed Fiasco on the Xbox One, which just looks like a 4-player 2D battle arena type
platformer thing. Yeah.
Game. Looks fine for couch co-op. Colourful. Pretty sure there was like weird, almost like cartoony characters, I think you are. Yeah. So that looks fun for a party game. And then another party game to end on is Uno on PS4 and Xbox One. That's the card game that everyone's played. Everyone has played Uno, right? Like, everyone knows what Uno is.
It's continuing the trend of bringing card and board
games. Yeah, it's from Ubisoft. We've seen them bring a lot of them. They're Hasbro games. We've seen Battleships come recently, Risk, Monopoly, and now Uno. If for some reason you have a desire to play a card game on your PS4 or your Xbox One, then that's available for you. Game of the week for you, Dan.
As much as I think the F1 game has improved and is probably going to be enjoyable for anyone who is a fan of F1 and racing games, I'm going to say Hitman Episode 4, simply because of the fact that even though I'm not going to play it, I'm going to see some stuff that's going to entertain me out of it, and I don't know that I would get that much entertainment out of F1.
There's nothing more fun than killing a hipster lead singer.
Yeah.
in a video game. Just to clarify, for anyone thinks that I've gone on a psychopath. F1 for me. I'm pleasantly
Spliced.
I'm pleasantly surprised because I expected nothing from this game after last year. They appear to have addressed all of the problems. Like I said, I think maybe I'll do a Let's Play of it if I ever actually have time. Well, we've been terrible on Let's Plays recently. We haven't done any for like a month. But yeah, really, really good. Added in. It just feels like an authentic F1 experience now.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing I can say about it. And
does look
Codemasters have always done great races. So, mechanically, it was always going to be solid. And now it has the depth to go with it. So that's it for this week on the Game of the Week show. A nice short one without Ash here. Gamescom was always going to be busy. And I think we just... When Ash isn't here to rein us in, we just rambled on a few things. But I hope you've enjoyed it anyway. Let us know down below what you think about Metal Gear Survive. Are you excited for that? Are you excited? Would you like a Mass Effect trilogy remaster? What are your thoughts on Titanfall 2 if you've played it as well? Are you playing F1? Are you enjoying it? Let us know all of your thoughts about everything we've discussed down below. But for now, Dan, thank you. Cheers. And everyone out there, thanks for watching. We will see you all next time.